I do have a son. I am 29 years old. My son turns 12 years old next month. Talk about motivation. He is the reason that I can stand up here and look the way that I do, meaning he's my motivation for working out. Because right now he's 11, almost 12, and he's already right here to me. So I need to make sure that I'm fit enough that once he gets into puberty, he knows that dad still can handle it. But also, I do want to take the time to recognize these two people here in this picture here. But first here, I want to recognize Dr. Alex Shanoan. Dr. Shanoan, as I said, was my major professor and my advisor during my time here, both in the master's and the PhD. Dr. Shanoan has been very instrumental in my life in terms of shaping my perspective and my economic thinking, in terms of shaping the way that I do approach certain things. He's very systematic, but he also knows how to keep things simple. Anything that we go into, he helps us to take the step back to say, okay, what is the main goals? How do we achieve and focus only on those goals? Professionally, I'm very appreciative of Dr. Shanoan. I do want to go ahead and give him his flowers. Also in this picture, Dr. Zia Wali, the lovely person that introduced me. I don't think you guys know exactly what this lady means to me. I can honestly say, once again, I would not be up here in front of you guys without her. I also would not have the skill set to be able to talk to you, communicate to you, articulate to you my story in the manner that I can without her. There were many times from day one that I was fortunate enough to work with her in the diversity programs office. And from day one, I was doing presentations with her, not recognizing that I'm practicing for moments such as this. I was doing, I was helping her to co-teach her class, not recognizing that she was actually training me to prepare for when I got the time and opportunity to teach AgriCom 420, not recognizing that many of the connections that I have here, I met them through her. So having someone who can holistically mentor you and think light years ahead to say, what is it that you need to be doing right now? But also students on the other end having the trust in that person to say, hey, if you lead, I'll follow, and understand and have the trust and faith and belief that when you come out on the other side, you will be where you want to be, but also beyond that. So Dr. Wiley, I do want to give you your flowers and say thank you. I appreciate you. I do know that there are many things. I do know that, as she says, that some of the grays in her head has my name on it, and I apologize for that. But also, I do know that there are many times that I'm not in the room, but yet I have an advocate in the room. There are many times that I may not understand what's going on, but I have someone that do, that can break it down, and that's Dr. Wiley. Partially of that is Dr. Shanoan too. So I want to give them both their flowers right now on the spot. But as I said, this is my why. Underneath my why is a set of value system that I live by. I live by the 5 F's. That is faith, family and friends, finances, fitness, and future/impact. And anything that I do in life, I filter what I'm doing through these 5 F's. And I want to know if what I'm doing, what opportunity I decide to take, what decision I decide to make, am I growing myself or am I helping someone else to grow in these 5 areas, these 5 F's? So I wanted to first and foremost give you my value system. Here, this is the hard drive of a computer. These 5 F's are the hard drives of Dr. Lonnie Hobbs Jr. This is what I live by: faith, family, finances, fitness, future, and impact. Everything that I do in life, my whole goal is to help someone else get to where they want to go. And understanding that there are ways that I do this, which I call my software. I didn't put this slide in there, but my software and how I do that is, of course, first and foremost, faith in the one up above and faith in myself to be able to do it. Hard work, resilience, consistency, and gratitude for those that have helped me. But in that also, there's a way that I apply my value system. And my application software is first, keep God first. Secondly, helping others to achieve their goals. I've been fortunate enough to be in an opportunity where I get to do that every single day in everything that I do. I absolutely love teaching. Why? I get a chance to not only increase the mindset and education of these K-State students, but I also get a chance and an opportunity to teach them about life. I get a chance and an opportunity to provide something to them that can help them to be successful in life. In my research that I conduct, as I said, I conduct research in pet food economics. My specialty area is agribusiness and marketing. In everything that I do, every research paper that I write, my goal is to help companies and organizations better service their customers, better service the people that they are servicing. How? Because I understand in business, a lot of times their main goal is to increase their profit and bottom line. Well, if you can help to service their customers, that in turn increases their bottom line. So within everything that I do, I try to make sure that I am helping other people to achieve their goals in the process. Now, over time, as I said, I'm 29 years old. I don't have life completely figured out. I love the quote that the smartest man in the world knows that he knows nothing at all. Absolutely love that quote. Now, in my time of living here, though, I've recognized one thing that has helped me to be able to better service other people, to better reach and connect with other people, is having a positive mental attitude. No matter what goes on, this is good. Everything happens for a reason. I understand that it's hard for me to be able to help you today if I'm approaching you and I'm frowning. If I'm approaching you with my problems, how can I help you with your problems? So for me, keeping the mindset and that positive mental attitude and living by this one quote, which is the only things in life we can actually control is our actions and our attitudes. A lot of times we want to control how people receive the things that we do. We want to control how people perceive us. We have no control over that. Only two things we can control is our actions and our attitudes. But what we don't recognize in controlling those two things, a lot of times we can indirectly impact how people perceive us. We can indirectly impact how they receive what we are giving them. So these are my applications. These are my values. This is the operating system. This is the computer that's running myself. Now, in this, I try to filter every choice that I make through these things that I've just mentioned to you. Now, in life, we are all faced with different choices. I want to take you to a quote from a Houston legend, Mr. Jay Prince. And Jay Prince said, "There are two things you get every day, a chance and a choice." Now, I'm going to take my spin and put it on it to add to that, to complete it, to say, the choices we make determines the chances we get to take. So in all that says, there's two things that we get every day, a chance and a choice, and the choices that we make determines the chances that we take. And understanding that it is important to place extreme value on the choices that you make. And I understand every single day, we are all faced with many different choices. We are faced with the day-to-day choices. What do I wear? How do I do my hair? I like to joke with different people. I think my dad is on, I'm going to joke with him. Some of us don't have that problem of this second question. I love you all. I love you all. But also we have our personal choices. How do I show up? What is my mindset? And then we have some of those choices that are a bit more complicated. Where should I live? Should I take this promotion? Not understanding though, many of these choices we have, some of them are straightforward. But the ones that actually shape our lives and help us to get to where we are these life-altering, these more complicated choices. I myself also have faced some complicated choices. So this first one I put up here, and I want to preference by saying, when I say hard choice or complicated choices, that is relative to each and every person. I'm sure you may have faced some things that are a lot more extremely harder than I have. I'm just speaking on my personal life, my personal journey. One of the very first hard choices that I was faced with that I can remember is this football versus band. As I said, I played football. I also was in band. What I didn't tell you is that growing up, I actually played quarterback on the football team, had an arm like a rocket. But growing up through times, up until the point that I got to high school, when I got to high school and I made my transition to varsity football, the starting quarterback was 1 year ahead of me. He had been starting on varsity since his freshman year. So that spot was actually locked in. So for me, I had to wait my turn with playing quarterback. I did play safety on the other end of the field. Absolutely loved it. Recognized at that time that I actually liked playing quarterback. I love playing football altogether. But going into my senior year, this is my opportunity. This is my time. I get to step in and play quarterback. But I was faced with a tough decision at the beginning of that season when my head coach come to me and tell me that I had to make a decision. I can't have my quarterback out on the field marching during halftime because I need to make in-game adjustments. So for me, I'm now faced with my first real decision. Do I play quarterback that I like, something that I like, or do I stick with band, something that I love? I understand also, this is my senior year. This is my last year. This is my last shot. I'm likely not going to school to play band. But I also recognize I'm not likely going to school to play quarterback either. How did I know this? I went to several football camps during the summer. And while at a camp at North Texas, the coach told me flat out, sir, you have a very good arm, one of the best arms I've ever seen. However, you're too short. At that time, I'm 5'8.5". Going into senior year, I was about 5'9", 5'9.5". You're too short. I don't start recruiting until they're 6'3". It's like, well, I don't know if I got some platform shoes or something, but I cannot do that. So I was very realistic with myself to say, okay, going into my senior year, I'm faced with this decision of, do I play quarterback or do I stick with band? Band has been with me for all of my life, just about. And as I said, I recognize that I like playing quarterback, yes, but I love playing band. So from there, the decision was simple at that point in time. Once I actually assessed it, I chose to continue with band. I played quarterback for a few games. After a while, me and the coach sat down, had a real conversation. I ended up going back on the defensive side, which actually was good for me. Our Red River Valley, our area, led the team in interceptions and was second in the team in tackles. And this is after missing 4 to 5 games playing on the defensive end. So had I stuck with it throughout the beginning, ain't no telling where I would be right now. But actually, I'm right where I'm supposed to be right now. So that was my first real hard decision. Second tough decision, grad school versus USDA job. As I said, I had the USDA 1890 scholar, guaranteed job once I graduate. Now we did have a mix up with the hiring freeze, but things were worked out to where my job was there. But after meeting this lady over here, I actually had to make a decision. Do I want to go to K-State or do I want to go where the money resides? Understanding though, graduate school and having the opportunity to get a master's was something that I always wanted. It was something that I knew at some point I would actually do. And I started to weigh those decisions. And before I know it, you see where I am. I decided to choose graduate school. Even though as college students, our goal in going to college is to get a job. The job was there. There were many people that actually talked down on me, that were disappointed in me because I decided to turn down a guaranteed job to go and better my future. The next decision, stay in graduate school versus going home. Many of you are like, why would you contemplate that? It's a little deeper than what I have here. When I'm saying stay in graduate school versus going home, what I'm really saying is the choice every single day and the decision every single day that I'm faced with of being up here 8 hours away from my son. So the real decision that I did not put up here is every day, do I choose to stay here, stick it out through whatever I'm faced with, or do I go home to be there for my son every single day? But one thing about it is you have to have people around you that have your best interests in mind, people around you that can help you to see both sides of each decision. Dr. Wiley helped me to recognize that what I'm doing here is for my son. And coming out on the long term, on the other end, would actually be 10 times better for my son. I get an opportunity to be a role model for my son and do something that no one in my community has ever seen. I still have people coming up to me today. Hey, you're a doctor, right? Can you take a look at my toe? It's been hurting me lately. Because where I come from, we didn't know anything about PhDs. I didn't know about a PhD doctorate until I got to college. So understanding that in this decision, I was faced with this decision multiple times, but I am still here. And the last one is one that's near and dear to me. I am going to be a bit more vulnerable with you here. Fall 2020. I remember it like it was yesterday. Why? Because that was probably the toughest time that I've ever faced in my life. I don't know if you can tell, I'm a very social person. I absolutely love interacting with people. During fall 2020, what's going on? COVID. During fall 2020, also, I'm actually experiencing my first time living by myself, no one else in the house with me. All up until this time, I have had someone with me. I've had a roommate. I've had my parents. I've had my brothers and sisters. But I wanted to be big and bad. I wanted to get my own apartment. So I got my one-bedroom apartment. Did not recognize just how important social interaction with me until I was forced to recognize it. During fall of 2020, I was also faced with several deaths during the time from August to December, two of which were two babies that I'm very close with. And when I say babies, I mean 1 year old, died a day apart, had their funeral on the same day. One of which, as soon as the first day that I'm moving into my apartment, a dear friend of mine, 1 year older than me, we grew up together, died also. So during this time, I'm also faced with other things that I'm dealing with, depression. I'm also faced with the fact that I'm having to put on this mask to pretend to be okay for everyone. I'm faced with other different type of hardships, up to the point that at the end of that fall 2020 semester, I was completely drained. At the end of that fall 2020 semester, I was not okay. I was not whole. But life has to continue going on. So the reason that I was faced with probably one of the biggest decisions in my life, after fall 2020, I was supposed to take a qualifying exam for my degree. I had many people around me telling me, hey, just go ahead and take it. It's okay. If you fail it, it's okay. Not recognizing the things that I was dealing with internally. Not recognizing that actually, had I taken that exam, that might, and not passed it, that might have been a straw that broke the camel's back. I may not be up here in front of you. And the reason that I say that, hindsight being 2020, when I really look and assess, it wasn't a matter of not being prepared from a knowledge standpoint. I knew it. I was prepared from a knowledge standpoint, but mentally, emotionally, I was not prepared. Mentally, emotionally, I did not understand how to be able to prepare to take a 4-hour exam. And I was faced with the tough decision of, do I listen to the people around me and go ahead and take it and just hope for good? Or do I actually take a step back and say, no, I'm not going to take it. I'm going to take care of myself. Yes, this will put me behind. Yes, I may not finish with my cohort, but I really, the goal is to finish, not to finish with my cohort. So I was faced with this tough decision also. And I wanted to point this out, like I said, to give you an opportunity to really understand what's behind me, what drives me, but also to help you to understand that one thing that I am very honored to be able to have the opportunity to do is assess situations to see, yes, one decision may be easy, one decision may be hard, but there's a different level of hard in each decision. In each decision that I made, I had that type of hard. So from there, I wanted to understand and to highlight to you today, based on my own personal story, that in any decision that you make, in any choice that you're faced with, there are trade-offs. As I said, when I first stepped into that agriculture economics department, in that first classroom, that professor told me there is no such thing as a free lunch. What he actually meant in that is there is opportunity cost in everything. To my non-economists in the room, what I mean by opportunity cost, this is the cost of what you're giving up to achieve or receive what you're taking. So quick example, let's say that I have a choice here to choose between a Coca-Cola soda and a Sprite. If I decide to choose that Sprite, that Coca-Cola choice is my opportunity cost. This is what I gave up for. But from there, understand that there are trade-offs in every choice that you make. And a lot of times we think these trade-offs are easy versus hard. Should I go and work out today, or should I stay in the bed? Oh, that's easy. This bed feels good. But what we're not recognizing is no, it's not really easy versus hard. The trade-off is hard versus hard. What do I mean by that? There are different type of hards in the decisions and the choices that you make. So we have the obvious hard. In my previous example, going to the gym, that's an obvious hard. That is something that is the harder between the two decisions. A lot of times it leads or causes immediate pain, right now in the moment pain, but it also leads to long-term reward. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror over a matter of months that you've worked out consistently and say, ooh, I like that. But on the other end, sleeping in, this is the easy choice. But what we don't recognize is there's hard baked into this easy choice also. This is hard that you do not see at first glance. This typically causes immediate reward. Yes, I get to sleep a few hours today. But then again, it leads to long-term pain. Over time, I may not want to look at myself in the mirror. Over time, I may have health issues because I did not choose the hard decision at that point in time. I chose the immediate reward. So within this, how do we choose between these hards? First and foremost, we must identify them. We must identify the hard in each choice. And in identifying that, we must recognize that short-term pain from obvious hard is a lot less painful than the long-term pain for easy hard. What do I mean by this? Simply put, a lot of times the obvious hard requires a certain level of discipline. A lot of time the easy hard leads to a certain level of regret. That short-term discipline and that pain from the discipline is a lot less than that pain of long-term regret that you experience. So from there, after we've identified, we need to understand what brings us the greatest reward. And the greatest reward is understanding that long-term reward from the obvious hard is a lot greater than the short-term reward for the easy hard. Meaning, in my example, yes, I get a reward, a personal reward right now today for sleeping in. But that long-term reward of better health, to be able to play with the people around me, the kids around me, that long-term reward of understanding and loving what I see in the mirror, to my ladies in the room, the Coca-Cola bottle, as they say, understanding that the rewards of the obvious hard a lot of times outweighs the reward of that short-term easy hard. And then after you've identified these two things, utilize and lean into your value system to help you to make that decision. What do I mean by that? Within these rewards, what is going to help me to get closer to my goals, help me to live out the way that I love to live? What is going to help me to, in my case, my value system, what's going to help me to help other people? And once you can assess and identify and recognize this within the choices, this a lot of times helps you to break down, analyze, and actually choose the choice. In many cases, you choose the obvious hard choice. So for you guys, what does this mean? What are your hard choices? Well, the hard choices for you, as I said, going to sleep or going to the gym versus sleeping in. Tomorrow or today, choosing to have that apple versus that piece of cake. I know that piece of cake tastes good. I know it's a short-term reward, but that apple leads to long-term health. Choosing positivity and a positive mindset over negativity. This is something that's very key to me because whether we recognize it or not, this world today is full of negativity. You can go and Google and search the most positive thing you can ever think about and look at the comments and there's still negativity under it. So surrounded by negativity, it's hard to be positive in this world. It's hard to be optimistic. But the long-term reward, the impact that you have, I was always told that energy is neither created nor destroyed, it's only transferred. So why not be that boost of energy and positivity that you transfer to other people? And then also challenge yourself versus play it safe. Challenging yourself requires you to get out of your comfort zone. That is an obvious hard. That is a short-term hard. But the long-term reward from challenging yourself can lead you to places that you could have never imagined. In my case, it can lead you to having a PhD, something that you knew nothing about. Versus playing it safe, staying at home, doing the mundane, working for Tyson's or Pilgrim's Pride, which there's no knock against anyone that does that. I just know for me personally, that was not my story. That was not my purpose in life. I came across this quote as I was preparing for this, and it says, and I feel that this does a great job of breaking down what I mean hard versus hard. It says, marriage is hard. Divorce is also hard. Choose your hard. Obesity is hard. Being fit is also hard. Choose your hard. Being in debt is hard, but being financially disciplined is also hard. Choose your hard. Communication is hard, but not communicating is hard also. Choose your hard. Life will never be easy. It will always be hard, but we get the chance to choose our hard. So as I wrap up today, I am a professor in mind. I am an academic. I love to give you takeaway points. So I'm going to give you 3 points that you can take away from this talk today. The first being trade-offs exist in every decision that you make. Identify them. There's no such thing as a free lunch. There's opportunity costs in everything that you do. The second point, every choice includes the trade-off between hard and hard. Choose your hard. Understand that the pain of regret typically outweighs the pain of discipline. And last but not least, let your goals and values guide your decisions. What will get me closer to my goals and values? What will get me closer to what I want? And in this, you take this, you ball this up, you put it together, and this will help you to choose your heart. So from there, I want to say thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this opportunity. And I now open the floor for questions. Someone. Thank you.
I don't know about you all, but I'm all fired up to choose my hard. So let's ask Lonnie the hard questions.
You got one there.
And we will ask you if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself so we can have this be conversational, and then make sure and use the microphone so our friends on Zoom can hear. Thank you.
Okay, I'm JW Perry. Hello. My one question was like, when did you flip that switch? When you got that information about your kid and you're like, no, like, oh, I have to be an adult now. I have to be who God calls me to be. When did you know, like, okay, God, like, this is my flip. This is what I got to do. And I don't know where she went. Oh, she's right here. When you met her too, and like, how did that just really help you? Like, wow, like that mental switch in your head.
Mm-hmm. Great question. And you said, is it Jody?
JW.
JW, got you. So when I made that actual switch, there were times, of course, growing up that I thought I had made a switch to where it's like, okay, I'm going to focus on my output. I'm going to focus on my future. When I actually made that switch is when I was 16 years old and I heard the news that I had a son on the way. When I actually made that switch is when I turned 17 years old and my son was born. And I looked at him and I recognized that any and everything that I do in life, I now affect someone else's outcome in life. I was always told, and this is a little bit later, maybe at 19, I was told that it's up to you to overcome the challenges that you have in your own life, because if not, you will transfer those and pass those down to your kids and your offspring. There are many challenges that we face in life that actually are the result of someone previously or before us not overcoming them. So when I made that switch is when I wanted to make sure that my son understood what it means to work hard and work legitimately for something. But I also wanted to be the role model for him and make sure that I'm setting him up to be successful. Yes, thank you. That one here.
Hi, Andy Kaler from Agronomy. Thank you for sharing the vulnerability of the mental health issue as a PhD student. So how did you overcome your struggles with anxiety and depression during that time?
Great question. For me, it was surrounding myself with the right people, making sure that I'm leaning into my mentors, and I actually had to get to a place where I could be vulnerable with them. A lot of times with the people that's in our lives to help us, we feel that we have to be strong and we have to show that we are tough. There's nothing that can get to us. And we feel that we're being strong for them, not recognizing that we're actually digging a deeper hole for ourselves. So it wasn't until I was actually honest with my mentors, I took the mask off and had to be honest with myself first to say, hey, I don't recognize you when I look in the mirror. And at that point, once I was honest with myself, I started to be honest with them. And they were able to surround me with the things that I needed to help me to overcome that. Another big piece is the reading aspect. The thing I love about reading is reading meets you right where you are at that point in time. You can read a book 3 different times, and the things that stand out to you in that book is totally different because it's dependent upon where you are in life at that point in time. So I started leaning in more and more to these different self-help books. Another great one, What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. That was a book that really helped me, the power of the spoken word. Those type of books really helped me because it got me in a mindset of where I'm speaking positivity to myself in the mirror. And then afterwards, I started to be able to feel myself with that positivity. And like I said, leaning into my community. Now, I'm not saying that this remedy works for everyone, but for me, those were the things that really helped me to overcome that and to actually address the things that I needed to address so then I could continue moving forward. Got 2 up there.
Hi, I'm Mark Hansard. Thank you for your talk today. You said a little bit about putting God first and your faith. Could you tell us a little bit more about that? How's your faith influence your decisions and stuff
Oh,
like that?
definitely. I was waiting on that question. So for me, you mind if I preface that with a quick story? So the way that I got into my faith, I grew up from the South. So many of us, we go to church in the mornings, Sunday morning, it doesn't matter. We can go stay at a friend's house. My friends come to our house. In order for you to stay, you better bring your church clothes. And we went to church. So I kind of grew up around it. Of course, I was young. I didn't know what was going on. But I still heard these different stories. Fast forward, when I started playing the drums for the church, it brought me from the back of the church house where we played to the front of the church house where I was able to listen to the messages coming from the pulpit. And then is whenever I really started to develop my own faith journey, which was about middle school, about 6th or 7th grade. And then from there, I've used that as my guiding light in everything that I do. The good thing about him, he meets us where we are too. So in the decisions that I make, a lot of times I try my best to filter them through what do I feel? And if he's talking to me, there may be something that happens that points something out to me. I may just say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what decision to make. Help me to make that decision, and something can happen that can help me to point me in the right direction. So when it comes to my faith, it's a journey. It's not a destination. So I'm not going to say I'm there. I got it all figured out. No, it's a constant journey. We progress, we digress, we progress again. But in where I am right now, I am on that progressive path. And I am very fortunate to know and understand my faith and my religion. Does that answer your question? Right.
Okay, so I am an international student. What advice would you give to an international student who left home for 8 years now and have been on their own, basically left home to gain an opportunity for themselves and also their family?
Mhm.
How what advice would you give that person if they are at a point in their life where they are struggling?
Mm-hmm.
There's
It's okay. It is okay. My advice to you, lean into the people that's here for you. They may not look like you, they may not sound like you. Lean into them. There are people that are actually here that want to see you succeed. There are people here to support you. Lean into that as much as you can. Create that environment here that they not only can be the support system for you, but you can be the support system for them. Lean on each other. Also, in that, find you mentors around this place that can help you. Everyone may not have been through the exact same struggle that you're experiencing, but in some form or fashion, they have. Everyone, myself included, my family is not overseas, but my family is 8 hours away. I can't just get up and go see them right now. So really lean into the people that's here around you. Also, take advantage of technology that we have. FaceTime. I can't tell you guys how many nights I have been studying for an exam or something and stopped mid-study because I got a question on FaceTime from a math homework of a fourth grader. And we're walking through these homeworks on the board, on the table. So really take advantage of technology to get that fix that you need to be able to see your family, make sure they're okay, and speak life into your family and into yourself. There's going to be struggles every single day with, should I get up out of this bed? Should I stay here or should I go home? But lean into the people that's here. Lean into the why as to why you came here to do what you're doing. And use that as your guiding light as you're making that decision every day. What do I do? I'm struggling. I don't know what to do. What do I do? Really lean into your system and keep your why plastered in front of you. Does that help?
Thank you.
Okay, we have one more question. We do understand that it is past 12:30, so if you have a meeting to get to or anything like that, you're more than welcome to leave. But we have one question on Zoom that I would like to ask. Maggie Denton asked, if you were afforded a platform that could reach our nation's youth, what would your message be to them?
There are several messages that I can give them. I think the one that has been most helpful for me, crazy enough, I heard Tom Hanks say this message. Anybody in here know Tom Hanks? Forrest Gump. I heard him say this message. He was talking to a group of successful actors, and his message to them was, "This too shall pass." And what he said in that, he said that there are going to be times where everything that you touch, it seems like it goes wrong. There are times where any and everything that goes wrong at one point in time. Understand that this too shall pass. He said, but also on the other end, there are going to be times where everything you touch goes right. Everything that you touch turns into gold. Guess what? This too shall pass also. So really what I would tell them, keep living their life, learn as much as they can, but understand that the things that we are experiencing right now is only momentarily. This too shall pass, whether good or bad. Just keep going, learn as much as you can. Great question.
Thank you, Dr. Lonnie Hobbs Jr. We so appreciate you sharing with us and connecting with us.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for coming and joining. I'm sure he'll stay around for more questions if you have them, but enjoy this day and thank you for being part of our community.